Becoming unrecognizable begins when you stop identifying with the version of yourself that others remember. The world will always try to hold you hostage to your past. They will remind you of your mistakes, your failures, your bad habits, your weak moments, and the times you hesitated. But to become unrecognizable, you must kill that reflection in their eyes. You do not owe the world familiarity, you owe yourself evolution. This transformation begins in silence, not noise. It happens when you stop trying to prove anything to anyone and start proving everything to yourself. The person you were yesterday cannot walk into the future you desire. Every morning becomes a battle between who you used to be and who you want to become. The Stoic mind understands that becoming unrecognizable means embracing isolation, discomfort, and the pain of change. You stop expecting applause and start living for discipline. You no longer speak of your goals, you embody them. To become unrecognizable, you must become ruthless about what you allow into your mind. No gossip, no envy, no weakness disguised as comfort. The mind must become a fortress, unshaken by opinions, immune to validation. In time, those who doubted you will no longer recognize you. Not because you've changed overnight, not because you've walked 1,000 silent miles in the direction of strength. Discipline is the first law of transformation. Without it, all intentions remain fantasy. To become unrecognizable, you must treat discipline as your only ally. It is not about motivation. Motivation fades with mood. Discipline is about doing what must be done, even when the fire inside has cooled. The Stoic mind does not wait to feel ready, it acts. Each day you train yourself to act despite resistance. You rewrite your character. You rise earlier, think deeper, move cleaner. The world sees no visible result at first, and that's how it should be. The transformation that endures is always slow, deliberate, and painful. Discipline teaches you the language of progress through repetition, boredom, and control. You must cut off distractions like they are diseases. You must treat your time as sacred. Every wasted hour is a theft from your future self. When you learn to obey your own commands, you begin to earn self-respect. And self-respect changes how you move, how you speak, how you think. Eventually, the person you were, the one ruled by laziness, emotions, and inconsistency, becomes a stranger. Discipline makes you invisible to weakness and unrecognizable to those who still live in it. Pain is your sculptor. No one becomes unrecognizable without walking through suffering willingly. Most people run from pain, chase comfort, and beg for ease. But the Stoic mind embraces hardship as a training ground. Every trial is a test of who you truly are when stripped of comfort. Pain removes illusions. It shows you what still controls you. The moment you face pain without resistance, you grow beyond it. You learn to observe discomfort without drowning in it. You stop saying, "Why me?" and start saying, "Try me." Pain becomes proof of progress, not punishment. When you no longer fear suffering, you become dangerous. Because then, nothing external can dictate your inner state. To become unrecognizable, you must let pain purify you. Each betrayal, each rejection, each loss becomes an anvil on which your new identity is forged. You realize that life was never meant to be easy. It was meant to make you strong. Those who stay in comfort stay known. Those who endure pain in silence become untouchable. You stop reacting, start enduring, and eventually transcend everything that once broke you. Solitude is the forge where you burn away weakness. People fear being alone because silence forces them to meet themselves. But if you want to become unrecognizable, you must retreat from notion and find power in isolation. In solitude, you see the truth about your habits, your thoughts, your distractions. You can't hide behind company or entertainment. You are left with your raw mind. The Stoic mind seeks solitude, not to escape the world, but to master itself before returning to it. In stillness, your mind reorganizes chaos into clarity. You begin to understand your priorities, your purpose, and your patterns. You realize that most connections are built on comfort, not growth. You learn to walk alone without feeling lonely, and that is liberation. Because once you're comfortable in solitude, no one can manipulate you with attention. No one can control you through approval. You no longer crave company, you choose it. You no longer chase love, you embody it. Solitude transforms you from dependent to independent, from needy to grounded. It's in the quiet hours that you become someone the old world can no longer recognize. Mastery over emotion is what separates the strong from the forgettable. To become unrecognizable, you must stop being a slave to feelings. Anger, fear, jealousy, sadness. These emotions are not enemies, but they must be commanded. The Stoic doesn't suppress emotion, he regulates it. You cannot let temporary emotions make permanent decisions. You learn to respond, not react. You learn to feel without losing control. When insulted, you stay calm. When provoked, you stay composed. The world will think you've become cold, but you've actually become controlled. Your calmness becomes your weapon. Every outburst avoided, every emotion tamed, every temptation resisted makes you stronger. Emotional control creates psychological dominance. People sense it and respect it. You stop being predictable. You start being powerful. The moment your emotions stop dictating your behavior, you become immune to manipulation. That's when people start saying, "You've changed." But the truth is, you haven't changed. You've evolved beyond chaos. Emotional mastery makes you unrecognizable because most people are still prisoners to their impulses. Your environment defines your evolution. You cannot become unrecognizable while living in the same mental and physical spaces that built your old self. The Stoic approach is ruthless. Eliminate what weakens you. That means cutting off toxic people, bad habits, and unproductive routines. You owe no loyalty to your old environment if it keeps you average. Change your space, and your mind will follow. Surround yourself with discipline, with silence, with people who force you to level up. Stop explaining your vision to those who cannot see beyond comfort. You are not meant to blend in, you are meant to rise. Becoming unrecognizable requires a total redesign of your surroundings. Your room, your schedule, your company. When you declutter your environment, you declutter your mind. You will lose people who prefer the old version of you, but that loss is a sign of growth. When the world around you no longer reflects who you are, it's time to build a new one. The transformation is complete when your environment no longer accommodates weakness. Control over time is control over destiny. For weak waste time as if it renews. The strong guard it like treasure. To become unrecognizable, you must treat every minute as sacred. Stop trading your time for short-term pleasure. Every distraction, every delay, every wasted hour is self-betrayal. The Stoic mind values time because it understands its mortality. Death is always near, and that truth makes every second matter. Schedule your life with purpose. Train your body, feed your mind, discipline your habits. You must create a structure so strong that chaos cannot enter. People will call you obsessed, but obsession is what turns potential into transformation. You will notice how time expands for the focused and disappears for the distracted. The secret is to act now, not later, because later is where dreams go to die. Once you master time, you become unstoppable. People who once knew will wonder how you achieved so much. The answer will be simple: you stopped wasting time. Detachment is the art of freedom. The Stoic path teaches that attachment creates suffering. If you wish to become unrecognizable, you must detach from results, opinions, and possessions. You still work, but you are not enslaved by outcomes. You still care, but you do not depend. Detachment doesn't mean apathy, control. You can love deeply without losing yourself, pursue success without being defined by it, and face loss without collapsing. Detachment gives you power because you no longer fear change. When you stop clinging, you start flowing. When you stop needing, you start attracting. The world loses its hold on you. You stop chasing validation, money, and attention because you've found something greater: inner stability. Detachment is not withdrawal, it's wisdom. It's realizing that everything external is temporary, but your response is eternal. Once you detach, life cannot break you. That's when you become truly unrecognizable. Calm in chaos, steady in storms, untouched by anything temporary. Reputation is an illusion built by others. Most people live as prisoners to how they are perceived. They dress, speak, and act not from truth, but from fear of judgment. But if you wish to become unrecognizable, you must destroy this dependence on external approval. The Stoic path demands that you live by principle, not perception. Reputation can be lost overnight, but integrity endures. When you stop caring about how you appear and start caring about who you are, freedom begins. You understand that your worth cannot be measured by likes, attention, or validation. You stop performing and start existing. The world is loud with opinions, but you remain silent because you know what you stand for. You become so grounded that gossip slides off you, insults lose weight, and comparison dies. People may misunderstand you, call you arrogant, distant, or cold, but that's only because they can no longer control you with their perception. The moment you stop defending your name, your power multiplies. Those who once thought they knew you will see someone they can't categorize anymore. That's when you've become unrecognizable. Not because you've hidden, but because you've risen beyond the need to be seen. Self-mastery is the invisible empire you build within. The weak chase control over others, the wise seek control over themselves. Every thought, every urge, every habit must come under your command. To become unrecognizable, you must no longer be governed by impulse. The Stoic mind understands that victory is internal long before it's external. You train your body, But you also train your mind to obey logic over emotion. You watch your reactions, your speech, your desires, and you correct them with precision. Every time you restrain yourself, you grow in strength. The more you control your reactions, the more the world loses control over you. People will try to provoke you, but you'll smile calmly. Life will test you with chaos, but you'll remain unshaken. Self-mastery turns your energy inward until it becomes unbreakable. The man or woman who rules themselves becomes a force of nature, consistent, composed, untouchable. That level of discipline makes you stand out not by noise, but by presence. You no longer need to announce your transformation. Your silence speaks it. You become unrecognizable because you've mastered the hardest battlefield, your own mind. Purpose is the fire that keeps transformation alive. Without it, all discipline eventually burns out. To become unrecognizable, you must know exactly why you wake up every morning. Your purpose must be greater than your comfort, your fear, and your excuses. It must be something that pulls you forward, even when everything inside you wants to stop. The Stoic understands that purpose is not about fame or wealth. It's about contribution, legacy, and meaning. When you have a purpose, distractions lose power, and suffering gains meaning. You stop drifting and start directing. Every decision, every habit, every sacrifice aligns toward one vision. You begin to value depth over noise, long-term fulfillment over short-term pleasure. The stronger your purpose, the quieter your excuses become. You start walking a path only a few can follow. People who once knew you won't understand your obsession. They'll call it madness, but it's clarity. When your purpose becomes your oxygen, you no longer negotiate with laziness. You don't wait for opportunities, you create them. And that's how you become unrecognizable. Not through sudden success, but through relentless purpose-driven consistency. Reinvention demands destruction. You cannot build a new identity without dismantling the old one. To become unrecognizable, you must first unlearn everything that made you predictable. You must destroy your comfort zone, your self-image, your limitations. This process is brutal because the mind resists death. The ego clings to familiarity, even if it's painful. But the Stoic mind accepts that transformation requires sacrifice. You will outgrow people, habits, and even versions of yourself that once felt essential. The destruction is not punishment, it's purification. You are burning away what no longer serves your evolution. Each time you let go of something false, you make space for something true. Reinvention is not about becoming someone new. It's about returning to your most disciplined, powerful, and authentic self. You are not losing yourself. You are shedding the illusions that kept you small. The process hurts because you are tearing away comfort and exposing potential. But when you rise from that fire, people will stare in disbelief, wondering where the old you went. That's when you know the destruction was worth it. Consistency is the invisible proof of transformation. Anyone can change for a week, few can endure for years. To become unrecognizable, you must learn the beauty of repetition. Doing the same disciplined acts day after day, even when no one watches, is what creates the shift. The Stoic understands that greatness is not built in intensity, but in consistency. You don't need to do everything perfectly. You need to do it persistently. Over time, your daily actions carve new identity into your mind. You stop being someone who tries and start being someone who is. Your habits become your character. You train your discipline until it becomes automatic, like breathing. The people who once saw you procrastinate will now see you move like a machine. But this consistency is not robotic. It's sacred. Because it comes from knowing that every action compounds. Every step matters. You build momentum that nothing can stop. The unrecognizable version of you is not the result of luck or inspiration. It's the result of 1,000 disciplined repetitions done in silence while others slept. Inner peace is the final sign of transformation. When you truly become unrecognizable, chaos no longer moves you. The Stoic mind finds serenity not in perfect circumstances, but in perfect control. You realize that life will always bring storms, loss, betrayal, failure, delay, but you no longer react as you once did. You observe, accept, adapt. You are not cold, you are centered. The world will notice that you don't panic anymore, that you speak less but mean more, that your presence calms rather than competes. Inner peace is not weakness, it's mastery. It means you've stopped fighting the external world and started ruling your internal one. You no longer need to prove your strength. Your silence radiates it. People who once saw you anxious or restless will now feel an unshakable calm in you. And that calm, born from discipline and detachment, is what makes you truly unrecognizable. The same chaos that once broke you now polishes you. You no longer chase balance. You are balance. To become unrecognizable is to transcend the ordinary version of yourself. It is to reach a state where even your reflection feels different, not just physically, but energetically, mentally, and spiritually. You have walked through pain, silence, solitude, rejection, and transformation, and emerged with a mind that cannot be shaken. The Stoic understands that this journey never ends. It is a lifelong discipline. You will always be evolving, refining, and strengthening. The world may never understand your change, but that is not your concern. You have detached from validation, mastered emotion, disciplined your habits, and devoted yourself to purpose. The old you would not survive the life you now live. You are no longer recognizable because you've become aligned with your highest potential. And that is the ultimate victory. To look in the mirror and see not who you were, but who you chose to become. When that day comes, you won't need to explain anything to anyone. Your presence, your peace, your power will say it all. That is what it means to become truly unrecognizable. Thank you for watching this video.